right? In what they call occupied territory. That's occupied territory. It was won fair and square, let's be honest.
Yeah. Well,
it was won fair and square. You people attacked
regained.
us. We took it, and it was ours. Well, yeah, because you go back 4,000 or 5,000 years, and that was...
There you go. That's
yes.
why they're called Jews. They came from Judea.
Yes.
I mean...
Yeah, and they find the coins and a whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a claim there, and it's a legitimate claim, be it what it is. But it's not. The biggest problems in the Middle East has got nothing to do with the Jewish settlements. You've got ISIS, you've got Al-Qaeda, you've got Iran, you've got Iraq. You've got a lot bigger problems, right?
Yeah.
Than you do a few Jewish settlements. And he wants to blame the entire conflagration of the Middle East upon the Jewish state and the few settlements that they're building and the problems they have with Hamas and Hezbollah, and let's be honest, who's lobbing missiles all the time?
Well, and that's the thing I was just thinking about. You have the Palestinian terrorists, Hamas, whatever, and they come in and they kill people on short notice. Just, they don't.
They're running the tunnels underneath. Yeah,
exactly. And yet, when it came time for Israel to retaliate, they had the famous knock-knock bombs. They would drop the knock-knock, and everybody would say, "Okay, let's get out of the building now." And then the building would blow up. I mean, they telephoned, by the way, you need to get out of there. We're about to blow that up.
We're going to blow it up.
Yeah, I mean, that's civilized war to me. I mean,
that is very civil. And the Russians have done it, and we've done it, and the Jews are doing it. You're giving them advance notice. How much more civilized can you be? But you certainly don't get that from Arab, Islamic terrorists who are out killing civilians with no warning whatsoever. They're not putting out a notice that I'm going to bomb Times Square. They're just going in and trying to bomb.
The biggest democracy in the Middle East, where if you want to say Muslims are located, is Israel. That's the most democratic voice Muslims have in the Middle East. Is in Israel. They can actually vote for members of the Knesset.
Yeah, and there are Arabic members in the Knesset, right?
Exactly.
So you're not going to go to Saudi Arabia and find a Jew inside,
or a Christian,
or in their parliament, right? Or a Christian,
or a
right?
woman.
You're not even going to find it. In fact, you can't even be Jewish and go to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Right? It's illegal. You're going to jail. Don't come here if you're a Jew. I mean, that's the craziest thing when it comes to dealing with Islam and from the Middle East. I mean, you can't build a church. Go and try and build a church in Saudi Arabia. You're going to jail, bud, and you might get whipping or maybe even had the head removed from your shoulders, right? And yet we allow the Saudis to fund and finance all kind of mosque building all around the world, in Europe and here in America. It's just absolutely insane. Well, anyways,
I'm sorry. I was just zoning out here thinking it's only like 20 more days, 19 more days. Life gets...
Call it 20 days, dude. We're almost at 20 and a half. We're there. We're getting close. Well, it's getting condemnation not only from Republicans, of course, that he did this, but even Democrats. Chuck Schumer and a lot of Democrats are up in arms about this, about his stance on Israel. And even a lot of our allies, like the UK. Derek, you got track 5 ready? Theresa May, the Prime Minister of the UK, is also now, even though the Brits voted for that resolution, she's now against what Kerry's saying because she's, like me, you can't put all the blame for the Middle East on Israel. Go ahead and play that track.
A tense moment in the so-called special relationship, the UK issuing a rare rebuke to the United States over its recent comments about Israel. Secretary of State John Kerry this week branded the current government the most right-wing in Israel's history and warned it was jeopardising hopes of peace by building settlements in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem. Britain distancing itself from the remarks Friday, saying the settlements were far from the only problem in the conflict. A spokesperson for Prime Minister Theresa May also said it was inappropriate to attack the composition of an allies' democratically elected government. May's reaction came as a surprise to the US, which responded by saying Kerry's speech was in line with Britain's own policy. Indeed, the UK this week voted for the UN Security Council resolution demanding an end to Israeli settlement building, which the US decided not to veto. Some believe May is trying to align herself more closely with President-elect Donald Trump, who she's so far struggled to build relations with. Trump is promising a starkly different approach to Obama when he takes control next month.
All right. So around the world, our allies here at home, the Democrats and Republicans, all finding some common ground on saying, Obama, what are you doing with 3 weeks left? Instead of just being quietly minding your own business and pack your bags and do some fun things, this guy is out literally trying to destroy the world, don't you think?
It reminds me of a sleeper agent who's been exposed, and he's got to do the most damage possible before he loses any levers of power whatsoever. That's if it isn't a plot for him to foment some situation where he gets to stay in power, then until our military takes him out. I'd love to see that. Did I mention I'd love to see that?
Yeah, you're asking for a coup, Ed. It's 2017, right? You're asking for a coup. Well, it bothers me, and
then it's just then it's just some spoiled brat.
That was what I was going to say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It's
like a kid who's losing the game and knocks all the pieces over because if I can't win, I'm knocking everything all over.
The good party's going home.
Yes, my girl didn't win. My legacy is going to get disrupted, and so I'm going to push all the pieces around and make it hard for you to continue. And that's really what's happening.
Yep.
And thank God, Putin's seeing through this. Now, make no mind,
Putin and Bibi.
These guys are, especially when we're talking Putin. He's no saint. Don't think that I'm up his nose or anything else. Listen, he's a dangerous man. He's a very dangerous man. What bothers me is the fact that these liberals, these progressives, these anti-Trumpers are all like, "Oh, Trump doesn't know what he's talking about. He's Putin's puppet." Let me assure you, if Donald Trump managed to beat the Democratic National Committee, the Clinton family, the Clinton crime syndicate, George Soros, the establishment GOP, the mainstream media. He beat all of them. Took them on and beat all of them. Don't tell me he doesn't know how to handle Putin.
Yep.
He's handling Putin the right way. You give him a little respect, but you show the strength. And I think Putin knows what he's going to be dealing with. He respects strength, and he knows Donald Trump is going to come in and do that.
If you think about it, Donald Trump actually has nice things to say about Obama, of all things. So if he has nice things to say about Putin, also, that doesn't really show what's, churning around inside him in regards to that other person.
Right.
It just shows an outward civility.
Yeah. And you know what? This is what they accuse him of not being civil. And yet here he is. He's only bad-mouthing Barack when Barack does these insane actions in these final 3 weeks here. And if you want
final 3 weeks, say that again.
Final 3 weeks.
Man.
I mean, let's be honest. The two major superpowers on the planet, the two nuclear superpowers on the planet, things were ratcheting up with Hillary coming in, right? It's kind of still a mystery to me that why they hated each other. She sold the Russians half our uranium supply. Why does she hate Putin so much? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, let me give a quick reminder on Wednesday, January 11th from 5 to 9 p.m. at Frenchie's. It's next door to Sidetrack Bar and Grill. Warriors and Caregivers United are raising money. So see if you can get out there. It's at East Cross and River Street, Ypsilanti. It's put on by the VVA Chapter 310. So if you can find a way to get to that and raise a little money for our vets, let's get out and do that. Until then, we'll see you next year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Go to thedailydrift.com, and we'll see you next week. Take care.